Hey everybody, it's Adrienne from WDW Bound. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about something that we did for the first time on our most recent vacation. My husband and I decided that we wanted to check out the Disney Vacation Club tours. If you've been to any of the Disney theme parks, chances are you've probably seen a Disney Vacation Club kiosk somewhere in the parks or in your resort, and maybe you've even been stopped by a cast member to talk about the program. If you're unfamiliar with DVC, it's basically Disney's version of a timeshare. You pay a certain amount, you purchase a certain amount of points that you can then use towards future vacations every year. Essentially, you're prepaying for your hotel for up to, if you buy into one of the new resorts, up to maybe the next 50 years. So we've rented DVC points from owners multiple times in the past, as we've talked about a lot. And my husband and I were just kind of curious about whether or not it would be beneficial for us to actually buy in. I'll tell you right now, spoiler alert, we didn't decide to purchase DVC on this trip for a variety of reasons, but still completely think that if you're even considering it or even are interested in just seeing what the DVC resorts look like, if you haven't rented points before, that it's completely worth it. So what we did is we spoke with one of the DVC cast members and we arranged a day and time during our vacation that we would go and complete this tour. We were picked up from our resort, both of our kids hanging out with us, and they drove us to Saratoga Springs, which is where the DVC center is housed. They told us kind of up front that the kids could stay with us if they wanted to, but if they didn't, then childcare would be provided. We gave the kids the option, and of course they decided to stay in the kids' clubhouse because that would be a lot more fun than staying with us for what they would consider to be a boring talk. So they went and we signed them into the kids' clubhouse, which was easy. And of course, I always feel secure using Disney's kid clubs, kid childcare options. I know that their caretakers are vetted by Disney, and there are very strict in and out procedures for who can drop off your children and who can pick them up. So side note, I'm never worried about any of the kid childcare options when I'm in Disney World. So after we dropped off the kids at the kid club, we were sent into this little lobby area to await our salesperson and tour guide. There were some drinks and some different pastries available. I didn't need any of them because we'd already had breakfast that day, but they were there if you wanted them. Several other couples were kind of wandering around too, waiting, and eventually all of us were taken into a larger room to watch a DVC promotional video. It was short, thank goodness, and then we were finally introduced to our guide, whose name was Steve. I'm going to say here that Steve was fantastic. He was very excited. It's someone that you would expect from Walt Disney World and very knowledgeable about the DVC program. We told him up front that we were not going to be buying in on this visit, that it was strictly an information gathering visit for us. And while Steve was understanding and said, yes, I totally get it, he did slip in multiple phrases throughout our visit that were worded like, when you purchase DVC, and you will love being a DVC member. He was very good at his job. Just going to put that out there. So I asked a lot of questions because there were a lot of things that I wanted to know. Why should I buy DVC instead of continuing to rent points like I'd been doing? What are the perks that you get as being part of DVC? What happens at the end of that 50-year contract? Should I buy from Disney directly, or why not get it cheaper at the resale market? So I had a bunch of different questions, and he had all of the answers for me, though he did seem a little, I don't want to say put off, but a little surprised, I guess, that I had so many specific questions about what was going on. It's just me and my personality. I just, I do a lot of research before I make any sort of big decision. So after we had our conversations, and he also took out pen and paper and calculator and said, okay, if you stay at this resort this many times over the next 5 years, then essentially it's the same as if you had purchased in. So he did a really great job of showing us how it would benefit our family given our vacation habits and how we already tend to visit Disney. So it was very good. And then after kind of taking us through that, he left us in the little office to watch a video about Aulani, which is Disney's resort in Hawaii. And then he went off to print out some copies of information about the outright cost, what are the financing options, what the monthly payment will be if we did decide to finance, and the yearly maintenance costs. Finally, after all of that, he took us to go view some model rooms. So at Saratoga Springs, they have a separate building where they have model DVC rooms for their most current resorts. So first he showed us a studio at Copper Creek, which is located at Wilderness Lodge. Gorgeous. I mean, what are you going to say? I'm a really big fan of the way that Disney is doing their studio rooms lately, where you don't necessarily have two beds, but you either have a pull-out bed or a Murphy bed. I just feel like it gives you so much more room when you're staying there, like during the day when you're not actively sleeping. So I really, really prefer that. The Copper Creek rooms were so pretty. Besides the studio, he also showed us a one-bedroom. I've never stayed in a one-bedroom suite before at any of the DVC times that we've stayed, and that is most definitely on my list. I liked Copper Creek a lot more than I expected to, honestly. It's been open in Disney World for a couple of years now, and I didn't think that its aesthetic would be my thing, but I really, really liked it. After that, he showed us the Riviera Resort, which isn't open yet, but will be opening later this year, I believe in December. And the studio here, again, very typical of what you would see in a studio room, but it also included the pull-out twin bed, which we've experienced at Boardwalk and love. It's great if you're traveling with a family of 5. Even with the family of 4 that we have, that little pull-out bed was great so that my kids didn't necessarily have to sleep in the same bed together. They like having their own space sometimes. What really blew me away here was the one bedroom. It was huge. I was not expecting it to be as beautiful as it is. The artwork is so, I don't even know how to describe it. The Riviera is supposed to be inspired by European travels, and I saw a lot of Peter Pan, and there's also Beauty and the Beast, and of course your typical Minnie and Mickey, but it was much more subtle Disney than in-your-face Disney like you would get, say, at Art of Animation or one of the All-Star resorts. So yeah, I need to stay here, just putting that out there. So finally, after we toured all the rooms, Steve took us back to his office to finish up and try to convince us one more time to join into DVC that day. But he wasn't overly pushy. And that is something that through my research before going on the tour myself, is that the salespeople, obviously they're salespeople. They're trying to get you to buy into Disney Vacation Club. But I haven't heard a single person say that the salespeople were overly pushy or rude or anything. It was all very, okay, that's fine. Well, let me convince you to do it maybe at a later date then. And finally, Steve finished up by handing us his business card and letting us know that he would follow up with us in a few weeks, even making a joke, I hope you take my phone calls. You know, he was a really nice guy. I appreciated him a lot. After we finished up, he led us through the back way to go pick up our kids from the kid club and to the ice cream parlor, which I'd kind of heard about, but I'd completely forgotten that at the end of the tour, you're giving free ice cream. Who doesn't love free ice cream? And then to check out. Another thing that's really great about the DVC tours, if you choose to take one, Disney understands that you're taking an hour to 2 hours out of your vacation to go through this experience with them. And so they do provide incentives. My husband and I were each given a $75 gift card, and all 4 of us were given 4 multi-choice fast passes loaded directly into our My Disney Experience account. So those fast passes were my big thing because fast passes are hard to come by. And they were good for everything except for, the super popular attractions like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Flight of Passage, Slinky Dog, attractions like that. But, basically anything else. So I think we rode Everest twice in a row using our fast passes. It was pretty nice. all in all, the tour took us about 2 hours. We were quoted between 60 and 90 minutes, but I think that timing will vary depending on your sales representative and the amount of questions that you yourself have. We were overly pleased with this experience. We felt like the time out of our vacation was completely worth it, given the information that we received and the gift cards and the fast passes and everything else. So now I want to hear from you. Have you been on a DVC tour? I want to hear about your experiences, how things went for you. And then of course, I want you to join us on all of our social media, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and share with us there. It's always fun to hear from you guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.